What's up, Bills fans? If there are any of you left, there was no way, and trust me, I wanted to turned on the webcam, and there's no way I could have done a video yesterday because it would have been profanity-laced tirade of mishmash nothing. And when I do these videos, I don't script anything. I don't write anything down. I mean, I do think about a few things that I want to talk about before I do them, but with that said, um, there's so many things you could talk about, and then I've just come to realize that the same things I've been talking about for the last, you know, 10 years, 11 years of this horrible era of Bills football. It's the same thing. The coach is clueless on game day, doesn't know what to do. It's either one or the other. He's too much of a defensive guy and not enough of an offensive guy. He's not enough of an offensive guy, too much of a defensive guy. The quarterback, it's the same thing. He's either too scared to make the throws, doesn't have the ability to make the throws. He's too old and slow. He's too young and doesn't know enough. It's the same thing over and over again. And they do these little things in the off season to give you hope. They go out and they sign a Mario Williams, Mark Anderson. Oh, there's the pass rush. It's fixed. Season before that, they were getting it together late last year, and they got a healthy this guy and a healthy that guy, and it's Fitz's second year in the system, and great. Gailey, he really knows what he's doing offensively. Before that, they signed T.O. That's awesome. They've got it together. They finally got another weapon. The list goes on and on of things that they do to sell you this hope. And then they have their myriad of excuses to why it all falls to shit. Oh, guys get injured. Oh, receivers this. They have all these built-in excuses. And it's the same thing. They're just not good enough on any level. And I'm talking about not just on the football field. I'm talking about ownership. I'm talking about whatever front office position you want to pick, whoever's there. You don't know. Gailey, you just look at these guys. Just look at this regime of Bills football. Nix was retired. The Bills say, hey, come be a scout for us. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm bored. I'm not doing anything. He goes and be a scout for the Bills. They fire whoever they fire. They fire Modrak, or they keep Modrak, and they whatever they do. I don't know who. I mean, it's just the names run into each other after a while. It just really is beyond irritating, and they fire whoever they fire. And they say, I believe if Ralph was at the press conference or he talked about, I firmly remember him saying this about names in the league. He's like, yeah, there was a few listed names, but we didn't know any of them. And Nix gets the job. Nix equals Gailey. Now, Gailey wasn't in the league, had been fired at Georgia Tech, was an offensive coordinator last with Kansas City. Again, they pull him off the scrap heap and say, here's our new head coach. Gailey results and a bunch of other guys otherwise likely not to have had jobs in the league. Wannstedt being one of them. From day one, defensively have even offensively. I'll say this, even offensively, because offensively they handed Trent Edwards the job after their fake little quarterback competition in the 10 off season. If you remember that one, it was that one where, well, this guy's going to play a quarter and so. Remember that fake ass shit that they did and they passed it off as a quarterback competition? Okay, they cut Edwards after 2 games after running him out there, knowing what they've seen on tape. Now I'm going to use a phrase that this particular regime loves using. I've heard Nick say it, I've heard Gailey say it, and I've heard Fitz say it. Notice they're all starting to grow beards too. You know, even Gailey's got his Fitz beard going on. You hope at some point the body of work speaks for itself. That's what they say. When Gailey was hired, he said that. Nick's reiterated it, that the body of Gailey's work speaks for itself. Fitz said it, and when he got re-signed, when he got his new contract, he did a press conference and said, you know, at some point you hope, you know, your body of work gets rewarded, and etc., etc. And I've heard him drop it a few other times in there. Well, the body of work is 12-25 since it's become the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. The starting quarterback, I think, is another 10 games or 9, whatever the fuck it is, under 500. So yeah, the body of work does speak for itself. You suck. At every level, you suck. You don't play in the NFL. You're a minor league. You're not even a minor league team. You're a rec club trying to play at the professional level. Because what it is up there, it's a big circle of friends. Gailey's Nick's old boy and vice versa. So, hey, let me get you a job. Hey, let me get all my other friends from KC a job in the scouting department and on my coaching staff. Hell, let me bring my buddies from Georgia Tech and throw them on the defensive coaching staff. Giff Smith. Oh, George Edwards, I remember you. You're my boy. Come on in here. You're my defensive coordinator. We don't know what we're going to do. Are we going to run a 4-3 or a 3-4? Hey, let's run a 3-4. Oh, shit. We don't know what the fuck we're doing with the 3-4. Hey, let's go back to the 4-3. Oh, Wani, my old boy, you come on in here and you coordinate this thing. But you can sit and watch us suck for a year. Inside linebacker coach, was it? Oh, you can come watch us suck for a year. If he's such a defensive fucking genius, why wasn't he in the room saying, like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because their defense has gotten progressively worse the 3 years that Gailey's been there, to the point they make Jerron look like a fucking genius on defense. You're clamoring for those defenses right now. It's unbelievable how lost these guys look out there. It makes you wonder, like, what do they do in practice? What do they do when they sit and look at film? Other teams' coaches must fucking laugh. They must sit there with the remote in their hand, because you see it on Hard Knocks, and hell, I've done it myself. I don't even need to reference Hard Knocks. I have NFL Rewind. It's $70 for the year. Maybe some people don't want to dole out that kind of money to watch that crap product, but I did it. I thought it was going to be a good season. I bought in. I was like, hey, I get to rewatch the games. I get to see the game from a different perspective, all this stuff. These guys look clueless. Like receivers. Weren't we talking about this in 10? Receivers running wide open. Nobody can make tackles. Defense looks lost. Fitz can't throw the ball. This is what I'm talking about. It's the same issues. We knew Fitz couldn't throw the goddamn ball in 2009 when he had to take over for Edwards, because Edwards just refused to throw the ball. We knew he sucked. But you know what? Him going in there and winning a few games was good enough for this organization to throw a boatload of money at him and say, hey, you know what? You're our guy. because the standard is lower in Buffalo. And apparently it's lower amongst the fans too, because I don't know what it is. And sometimes I think it's just me. I think it's me forgetting how much older I've gotten. And also forgetting it's how long it's been since the Bills have been good or relevant in the NFL. I think that's what it is. I still sometimes think like it's, the 90s. And I forget I'm 32 years old. And the Bills aren't good anymore. They haven't been good for a long time, and from the looks of things, have no intention of getting any better. None. They have an absentee owner. They have I won't say dilapidated, but a pretty damn old stadium that doesn't have much in the way of amenities or concessions. Is hard to get into. They whore out games to Toronto. They have journeymen at every important position you could think of, critical position. They have guys that have just wouldn't have jobs in the NFL. If they did, they would be, again, scouts, advisors. Like, Knicks would be like this guy you'd see as like he's an advisor for some really, really good GM, or he would just be a guy he talked to once in a while. If that, he was retired. Gailey, maybe an offensive coordinator, maybe a quarterback coach. But in Buffalo, that's the head coach. In Buffalo, that's the GM. Fitz, backup on most other teams. He's our starter. Give him $29 million guaranteed. It's a fucking joke. So, you know what? We as Bills fans tend to get sensitive about the national media poking fun at us. When Harrison gets up there and makes his jokes about Mario Williams taking the Bills' money and laughing. He probably did. Dante Whitner says what he said about the coaches not putting the players in position to win. Well, looks like that to me. Hurts because it's true. No. And getting back to what I was saying before, younger generation of Bills fans, if there are many, because I don't think there are, unless they're from the area up there, they don't remember seeing the Bills ever be good. I get them on Twitter all the time. It's annoying talking about, oh, have faith. They're going to turn it around. A few of them are girls, by the way. Ugh. No idea what they're talking about. Don't mean to sound sexist, but they're fucking clueless. No, they're not going to turn it around. They suck. And for them to bottom out, this is my nightmare right now. That they bottom out. And are 3-13 and 2-14. And they have a second or first overall draft pick. And they do not take Geno Smith. That is my ultimate, and he's there. If he's not there and they're picking, that's a different story. But even if they don't make every effort to get up, scratch, fight, and claw to get someone like him, I'm not going to say that I'm going to turn in my Bills colors, but I really have to question how much time I invest in even caring about anything they do, because I'm at the point where it's a waste of time for me to sit and watch this team. It's like 3 to 4 hours out of my Sunday. They make me physically ill to watch. They're ensconced in just mediocre to the last 2 weeks, just the most decrepit football you'd ever want to watch. And they come out with this, well, Fitz is our guy, and Chan, well, I'm going to talk to Dave. You're going to talk to him? And then Chan says, well, I haven't really coached defense since 81. Really? It doesn't show, because you know what, Chan? He has no interest in anything that goes on that side of the ball. He doesn't, not just that he have any interest, he has no fucking clue. He's clueless about what works in today's league. And this is getting back to my point about hiring these old guys from yesteryear. Let's hire guys that were okay in the past. Wannstedt was a good defensive coordinator in '92. Okay? It is now 20 years later. The game has changed a little bit. And as long as you have an absentee owner and everything that I mentioned before, you're going to have this. And the thing that I'm most angry about is I was fooled. And I've been continuously fooled by them. I buy into the false hope. I buy any bullshit that they sell. And then I just hope. Like every time Fitz drops back to throw a pass, I hope it's not intercepted. I hope that he makes a respectable throw that doesn't look like he's an amateur, unlike yesterday where it was just amateur hour out there and has been. And we've known that. And I'm sorry that I was ever tricked into believing that this guy could have turned a corner and been good at any point in time. I'm fooled to think that Nix and Gailey were the right choices, that they could be making sound personnel decisions when you have draft picks like Troop, who has never even played, who was picked one pick ahead of Rob Gronkowski. Aaron Williams, who looks like he's never played a down of football in his life. He looks so bad out there. Calvin Shepard, who looks like a chicken with his head cut off, is lost. I don't understand it. I don't understand how that they could sit in the room and watch it and feel like it's good enough. And I personally think there's probably a lot of guys on that team, and they'd be the last ones to admit it. You know what? I think their mentality is, you know what? As long as my check don't bounce, I don't give a shit. Because that's how they play. So when they get up there and tell you that they're not quitting and this and that, fuck you. You're quitting. You give up that many yards. You look like that on consecutive weeks. You know what? You've pretty much punched your ticket. You got your head coach up there saying he doesn't have answers. You know what? He's just sitting there saying, well, at least I have a job. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be in the league. Same thing with Fitz. Looks awful comfortable being a loser. We continuously keep guys around like Kelsey, who's known nothing but losing. McGee, who can't even play, but they're obsessed with keeping on the roster. This is what you have, Bills fans. And I've gone on for over 17 minutes about this. And I apologize for the length of the video, but that's what it is. It's a second-rate organization run by second-rate people that just at the end of the day care about turning a profit. Have no interest in putting a winning product on the field. I don't care who they sign. I don't care what contract they gave out this offseason. It's a joke. They're a joke. They have no clue what the hell they're doing. There's no direction. It's just, hey, let's just all put our heads together and see what we come up with. That's what's going on up there. And you know what? At least I'm hanging out with my buddies while I do it. And there you have it. All right, Bills fans, try to have a good week. Don't let those pathetic losers get you two down like they've gotten me down. But hey, what can you do?